Hello again, everybody. I'm Snapper Lancaster, welcoming you to another edition of the Central Alabama High School Sports Show. Well, tonight, folks, we've got a good show planned for you. We've got two outstanding coaches. They've got some of their outstanding athletes. We look to visit with both of them. We'll do that in just a couple of moments. I always like to tell you, as we get this show on the road, always remember, folks, you get a chance, please frequent our sponsors, because without those people, we wouldn't be doing the show, and we're closing in on 20 years. So hopefully with the help of a lot of fine sponsors, we'll be on a whole lot longer. Tonight, of course, we're getting late into the winter season almost, because we got basketball playoffs coming just around the corner. We got indoor track, we got wrestling, we got bowling, a lot of busy things going on, and we've got a lot of outstanding teams here in the Birmingham area where there will be chances for trophies to be won by an awfully lot of them. Some of the hottest teams in basketball, for instance, in Class 7A, Huffman, Mountain Brook, Hoover, Vestavia, all in the top 10 boys. The girls, you've got Hoover, Spain Park, Hewitt, Trustwell, Huffman, and Mountain Brook. So the Birmingham area very well represented in Class 6A, Helena, Pinson Valley, Ramsey, Parker, and the boys, all in the top 10. Girls, Ramsey and Center Point, Winona and Pleasant Grove in Class 5A boys, 5A girls, Winona, just as good as the guys in Shelby County. And finally, Midfield and Class 2A have both their boys and girls having an outstanding season. So as you can tell, this seems to always be the case around playoff time. There are a lot of teams here from the Birmingham area that are going to be vying for not only playoff spots, but a chance to win those high school titles that we just talked about. But as we said earlier, got two outstanding guests. We'll visit with our first one in just a moment. So don't you go away. We'll be right back.
The community features a world-class resort and spa, the amazing Robert Trent Jones Trail Golf Course, miles of historic trails, and the whole family loves the pool at Ross Park. No, are we gonna have to watch your vacation slides all night?
This was supposed to be a party.
Well, this isn't my vacation. I live here.
Ooh.
The next time you need electrical work, whether it be commercial or residential, you need to call Huffman Electrical Contractors, a company that's been in business for over 35 years. They've served clients not only locally in the Birmingham area and all over the state, but have clients outside the state of Alabama as well. Whether it's a new building or remodeling an older building or home, they can handle the job for you. Once again, that's Huffman Electrical Contractors. The number to call is 205-661-5005. That's 205-661-5005. Where at Huffman Electrical Contractors, a satisfied customer is always their number one objective.
Take your taste to a different place. It's the taste of hamburger heaven. A taste of heaven is always best. Now you know that you're blessed. Give your taste a whole new spin. Bring your friends and come on in. Take your taste to a different place. It's the taste of hamburger heaven.
And folks, welcome back. And as we talked about, our first guest of the evening will be the track coach at Altamont High School. And we're talking about Jamie Redeker. And Coach, as we get into this interview, first of all, I'd like to find out a little bit about you. Tell me about your background for people that might be seeing you for the first time, and how you ended up being the coach there at Altamont.
Sure, of course. I am in my fourth year teaching and coaching at Altamont. I'm an alumnus of the school. I graduated from there in 2000, so it's pretty neat to be working at an institution that I'm very familiar with. And before that, I've been bouncing around in the business world in a couple of different sectors until I landed on teaching. So by day I teach Latin, and then in the afternoon I do my coaching.
Well, I know a lot of times, and I talk with coaches about this, been doing it for years, but the curiosity part about it is, did you start out your career thinking you might end up being in coaching? It don't sound like you did, because from what you said, you tried other things first, but eventually worked your way back this way.
Absolutely, and I definitely had not planned on it, but I think through my education and keeping in touch with a lot of different people, certainly set me up with that opportunity. But I was very fortunate several years ago when Altamont had a couple different openings to be able to hit 2 of those. And I'm in a place that I absolutely love, and I couldn't imagine myself doing anything different.
You know, I wonder one time, I've talked to a lot of coaches through the years, and of course, the football, baseball, basketball coaches in particular, a lot of them, that's the only sport that the head coaches, that's the only sport that they coach. But for a track coach, sometimes it's completely different because you have all 3 seasons, and a lot of you coaches you're busy all year round, isn't it?
Absolutely, and what does make it a little easier is that our team, from season to season, the vast majority they're the same students. I mean, running is a full year-round sport, but when we get into the track seasons, indoor right now in the winter, and then spring track or outdoor in the spring, you have the field sports, you have hurdles, you have jumps that I had no idea about any of these, and just like some of the students had to learn on the fly, and that was part of the fun. And now as they're getting a little more experienced and I know a little bit more about these and we're becoming a little more competitive, it's become, certainly a different dynamic, but fun every single day.
Well, for people that don't totally understand, and if I say anything wrong, you be the first one to correct me because I've been in this business a long time, but it doesn't mean I know everything. Now, like in track, for instance, in the fall, you got the cross country.
Yes, sir.
Indoor, and then you're outdoor in the spring. And the challenge, I think, one of the biggest challenges is your indoor is such a limited schedule because I guess, do y'all do most of your running at the crossplex like everybody else?
Yes, sir. So our practices are all outdoors, but all the meets are at the Crossplex facility. And when I was running at Altamont, late 90s and into 2000, we ran a place called the Barn, and it was a horse show arena up in Priceville, and it was a rickety wooden track.
And I've heard a bunch about that.
And it became unusable. So in the late 2000s, an indoor track didn't exist for a couple of years till the Crossplex was built.
Well, now to get down to some particulars, which is this year's team for you, and you said this, what, fourth year?
Yes, sir.
As the head coach and everything. Talk about the progression that has been made since you've been there in your teams and the type season you've had thus far this year. And has it gone like you expected, gotten better, whichever coach hopes it does? Mm-hmm. But a lot of that depends on the talent that you do or do not have. But talk about your team.
Well, to start with the bigger picture, when I started, it was a small team, but a good core group of students, and I brought some of them here for the next segment. And they were in the 8th grade then. Now they're juniors. We have a couple of seniors, but juniors and below, so it's a pretty young and diverse team. And it has grown exponentially year by year, season by season, which for me, I love to see that. And I think across the country, the popularity of running is certainly spiking.
Well, one of the challenges that you and all other coaches have to deal with is it's not like a pro team or anything like that where you have the same players from year to year for quite a few period of years. There's always that changeover. Mm-hmm. So there's the challenge of that, the new influx of the athlete. You never know to what degree how good they will or will not be in their sport. So that's part of the challenge y'all deal with, isn't it?
Absolutely, and especially in running, it can take years for a student to develop into the type of runner that I think they can be. And so they have to be able to commit to it. And I've been lucky to have some students that have bought into that. Not everybody does, but the ones that do within a couple of years. And I think that's where we are now with a strong upper class. In cross country, we did well, 3rd and 4th place for boys and girls respectively. In indoor, it gets a little tougher. We compete with some of the bigger schools in our division, goes up through 3A. But we still have some really good individual runners. And then in outdoor track, when we compete only against 2A, we're going to be pretty strong there too. But it has taken several years to build to that point.
Well, as we get, and the time sort of flies by as we get toward the end of the interview, tell me a little bit about this year's team in particular, and when it comes to the coaching, from a coaching aspect of it, do you coaches, even in this sport, always hope that your players peak as you get closer to the tournament time?
Well, the peak really should happen at the state meets, which for indoor track will be next week, Friday and Saturday, February 2nd and 3rd. And so you try and time your training where that will happen, and it doesn't always happen that way. So that's the tricky part. And for some it might happen, and for others they miss it.
Yeah, well, as the old saying goes, a lot of times like that, timing is everything to a degree, but once again, even as well as you coaches do your job, you really can't pinpoint when that athlete is going to peak, whether it be early in the season or late in the season. But in the normal, if there is such a term to use for that, especially come tournament time, playoff time, state meet time, that's when you want them at their best. So having said that, in the last few seconds we got, talk about how you feel like your team is right now as you're ready to embark on the state tournament.
Well, our indoor season is actually kind of like our off season. Cross country is really big for us, and then outdoor track is really big. So this is kind of our preseason for outdoor. We're having some students that are doing really well right now that will peak next weekend. And then those that don't, we are long-term oriented. We're looking at the spring for a good finish.
Well, I tell you what, Coach, first of all, it's awfully good to meet you. I've heard a lot about Altamont, haven't had any guests from there before, so you and your athletes have been the first, and it wasn't an oversight that happened on purpose, but glad you got to visit with us. Hope the team does peak next week, and maybe you end up with some trophies, if not the #1 trophy when it's over with.
We appreciate it. Thank you for having us.
Folks, we'll take a quick break. We come back. 4 young athletes that, as the coach says, I'm sure they hoping they're going to be peaking next week too. We'll be right back. The next time you need electrical work, whether it be commercial or residential, you need to call Huffman Electrical Contractors, a company that's been in business for over 35 years. They've served clients not only locally in the Birmingham area and all over the state, but have clients outside the state of Alabama as well. Whether it's a new building or remodeling an older building or home, they can handle the job for you. Once again, that's Huffman Electrical Contractors. The number to call is 205-661-5005. That's 205-661-5005. Where at Huffman Electrical Contractors, a satisfied customer is always their #1 objective.
At Andrews Sports Medicine, we partner with our patients, trying to help them overcome the obstacles that keep them from achieving their goals.
This practice aggressively pursues victory over injury, over pain, over limitation, over anything that's going to keep you from being the best you can be.
It starts with our non-surgical physicians who are trained in sports medicine, orthopedic injuries. We have specialists in sports medicine with shoulders, elbows, and knees. We have hip specialists that do only hip surgery, including arthroscopy, minimally invasive resurfacing, and total hip replacement if needed. We have joint replacement surgeons. We have spine surgeons. We have surgeons that specialize in foot and ankle surgery and in hand surgery. So just about all the specialties of orthopedics are covered at Andrews Sports Medicine.
What makes the great surgeons great is their volume of experience at making decisions, whether that's intraoperative decisions, post-operative decisions, pre-operative decisions, the decision to operate on somebody or not operate on them. And so our volume here breeds good decision making. That gives us an edge in terms of making decisions for our patients, which ultimately is a lot of times the difference between success and failure. The teams, the players, the parents have confidence in us because they know we're going to communicate with them. We're going to create a plan unique to that athlete or that person, and we're going to get them back to their thing as quickly and as safely as we can.
At Andrews Sports Medicine, our mission is to partner with our patients and to help them succeed and achieve victory. Whether you're a weekend warrior, a grandparent with a shoulder problem, or a professional athlete, you get the same care, the same high-level technology, the same aggressiveness that we would in a professional athlete, and we treat everyone the same way. None of us like to lose. We're all very competitive, and we're not going to lose against their illness or their injury.
The community features a world-class resort and spa, the amazing Robert Trent Jones Trail Golf Course, miles of historic trails, and the whole family loves the pool at Ross Park. Oh, are we gonna have to watch your vacation slides all night?
This was supposed to be a party.
Well, this isn't my vacation. I live here.
Ooh.
And folks, welcome back. And as you can tell, I got 4 outstanding young athletes here, runners for Altamont, and getting ready to embark on their high school tournament, which takes place next week. But first of all, we're going to let them introduce themselves to us and find out a little bit about them, and then we'll visit with them. And we'll start with this young lady.
I'm Mary Ellen Murray. I'm a junior, and I run the 3200, 1600, 800, and 4x800.
She's a busy little girl. Okay, next.
I'm Amrita Lackenpaul, and I run the 800 and the 4x800.
Okay.
Hi, I'm Asher Desai, and I run all the distance events, so 800 meters, 1600 meters, 3200, and the 4x8. My least favorites are definitely the 800.
And I'm William Denniston. I also run the 4x800, 800, 1600, and 3200.
So we're all distance runners.
So I was going to say, and they're all very busy because they run different events. And so as we get this started, Mary Ellen, we'll start with you. Do you participate in any other sports, or are you just a runner?
I am only a runner.
Well, what about running interested you to where that was your sport of choice?
Well, I was actually a competitive swimmer before I ran, and it was just a lot of work to drive all the way out to Hoover every day for practice and spend hours at the pool. And we would actually run after our swim practice ended to get extra training in. And I thought it was fun, and then track practice was just, all I had to do was walk down the stairs to the track, and I ended up joining the track team in 7th grade.
And what happened for you? Have you ever participated in any other sports? Samrita?
Amrita, yes.
Amrita, and talk about your background.
I've actually been playing tennis for quite a long time, a lot longer than I've been running. But I started running to get in shape for tennis, and then I fell in love with it. So I started cross country in 7th grade, and then loved it. So I've just been doing it since.
Okay, Asher, how about you?
Well, I played soccer when I was very young, but then there was a period of time when I was adjusting to the new school. I came here in 5th grade, and then I didn't run for a while or play any sports, but then actually William's older brother introduced me to running. He said he saw me at a local 5K that I was running just because my mom signed me up for it. And he said, "Oh, you run at all, and we need some people." So he told me to join the cross-country team, and I did, and I really fell in love with running.
Well, now, we'll tell you this, and it's a compliment to your school and to you guys and girls as well. To me, y'all's track program is one of the strongest programs that y'all have. And so I can tell you've got a lot of athletes in it. William, how about your background?
I come from a very running-heavy family. My brother, he ran, and my father ran in high school and a little bit in college. And so, running's always been something that I know well. And I used to play tennis, but as I kind of got closer with my teammates on the cross-country team in 7th and 8th and 9th grade, I decided to stop playing tennis and focus on running full-time.
Well, good. Well, let me tell you, you may not believe it to look at me. Many years ago, I was an athlete and worked hard and played hard, just like you guys. Now, here's what I like to know is I know, one, you have to be strong in the books because, one, if we don't qualify in the classroom, we don't make it to the track, do we? So we got to do that. Then you got to have ability. But that's hard work on the track or out running, hard work in the classroom. What I want to know, and we'll start with you, William, what do you do for downtime to relax, to get away from the rigors of the books and the running? What do you do?
Another physical activity. Actually, I enjoy hiking and backpacking around Birmingham as well as around the country.
Well, now that's pretty unusual, so I'm glad you told me. I've seen people doing it, but people do a lot of different things. And with that thought in mind, Asher, how about you? What do you do to unwind?
I picked up playing the guitar myself, so I've just been teaching myself over the past couple of years.
Yeah.
And it really helps me relax.
When I don't know how to put it because me and the guitar have never really got along. Love music, but can't play a lick. Do you like classical? Do you like rock? Do you like country? Or does it matter?
I like 70s rock, mostly Led Zeppelin.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah, you do. Yeah, you do. Okay. Now this gets us to the young ladies. And Loretta, what do you do to try to relax, if there's such a thing for an athlete?
I've been a dancer for the majority of my life, so dance typically helps me relax a lot.
Really? Dancing. Okay. And Mary Allen, how about you?
Well, I started piano at age 3, and I've held on to it for too long to let go, so I'm not sure how relaxing it is, but it's definitely something that I really love.
Let me ask you this, because I don't want to say this wrong. Do people call you Mary Allen or just Mary?
Mary Allen.
Now that seems like to me with that little combination it would be the same. Now let me tell you this. You and Loretta right there, neither one of you said what I thought is a slam dunk when it comes to young ladies. I thought shopping. You ladies love to shop.
I do enjoy shopping.
Or maybe it's moms, but I think a lot of it rubs off on the daughters too. One other thing too, as we're talking about your running events now, you girls are athletes just like the guys are. Well, athletes all through the years, we're a superstitious bunch. And sometimes our superstitions think that it's going to help us perform better. Maybe it does, maybe it don't. Me personally, I don't care what kind of superstition we got. If we ain't got the talent, we ain't going to be able to perform, but it still feels like we can do better. Now, with that thought in mind, Mary Allen, do you have any superstitions or things you have to do the same way as you prepare for one of those tough meets?
Well, I have my special compression socks, which I always wear only the nights before state meets. And then specifically, I wear 4 hairbands because my hair falls down really easily. And it sounds like a lot, but at every meet, I have to wear 4.
I tell you what, it don't surprise me. You girls are as fickle as us guys, and the hair's part up. It's got to be like we want it. We can't have it getting away running if we possibly can.
That's true.
We want to suck wind, not eat hair, right? Don't mean that ugly. Okay, how about you, Meadow?
I have one superstition that's particularly for the 4x800. The girls on the relay don't really like this superstition, but I make everybody on the relay kiss the baton before we run. Like, it has to happen. Even though they refuse to do it. I'm just like, no, it has to happen.
Yeah, okay, well, it takes all kind to make up this world. What I want to know, mentally, forget the physical part, mentally, do you think it makes it run better?
I don't know, it might be like good luck.
Yeah, well, good luck charms, that we got a place for them, don't we? Okay, Asher, how about you?
I have a specific meal routine that I have before, like the morning of. Like I have a very particular breakfast I eat, and like I eat a banana about an hour and a half before I run. I don't drink water within 45 minutes of running, and I also have a particular pair of socks, and I also have to tie my shoelaces a certain way before I run.
Oh, you are eat up with it, Asher.
I wouldn't really call them superstitions in a way because I really am inclined to think that my body's gotten used to at least the food, like that I'm ready to run when I eat that. And the shoelaces, I've definitely had some times where my shoelaces came undone, so I'm very particular about
Well, I tell you what, if your times keep improving, the coach will say, don't change what you're doing. That's that same thing. Okay, how about you, William?
5 minutes before every race, I take 3 sips of water, exactly 3 sips of water. And right before the announcer says, get on the line, I jump twice, and then I bend over to stretch my hamstrings, and then I get on the line and get ready to race.
Bless your heart. I thought a lot of us had lost that kind of thing. It's evident superstitions are alive and well, and that's great. Well, listen, I got a couple of questions. One, you're going to have to think about for just a second because you may know or may not know, but I know all of y'all are just juniors, right? Still got a senior year ahead of you, and then an education behind that. And if it's not too early to ask, Mary Allen, what do you hope to do one day for maybe an occupation? You got any clue yet?
Since a very young age, I've always wanted to be a marine biologist. And then I've also always played piano, so there's always been those two that I've been interested and passionate about. But then now I'm finding that I also really like computer science, and it's kind of becoming the future. So there will always be job opportunities. So I'm a little torn right now.
Think you ever might like to coach?
I don't know. I guess it depends on where I end up and what I end up pursuing.
We never know, do we? What about you, Henrietta?
Like Mary Allen, I've always been big into computer science, so that's what I want to study in college and then go into the computer science field.
Okay, that sounds great. Asher, how about you?
I don't have anything I'm particularly passionate about except for running. So I really like studying physics. So I'm going to do that in college and then see where that takes me.
Oh, okay. William, how about you?
I'm interested in business, possibly advertisement or stocks.
Okay. Last question, and it's been a delight to talk to you, and we'll start with you, William. To this point in your life, who's been the most inspirational person or persons?
I would say my brother. Like I said and Asher said, he was the captain of the cross-country team when I was younger, and he's just always been somebody that I can lean on and somebody that I've looked up to.
Okay. Asher, how about you?
I don't know. I think that my parents have had the biggest influence on my life. I'm an only child, so I don't have like an older sibling, but my parents have definitely helped me a lot, and they've guided me through my life.
Well, good. Miranda?
I think my parents also, they're just always so supportive, like sports or any other activities or in school. So.
Okay. Miriam?
There are just so many people. Like, I have to say, like, coach and my parents and my piano teacher, but largely my sister, just because I'm sort of competitive and I just want to better everything that she's done.
Well, I tell you what, it's been a pleasure to talk to you young athletes. The last thing I would say, I hope your best running is headed in to next week. And good luck to you in the tournament, okay?
Thank you.
Folks, we're going to take a quick break. When we get back, another coach, different sport. Don't go away. We'll be right back.
The community features a world-class resort and spa, the amazing Robert Trent Jones Trail Golf Course, miles of historic trails, and the whole family loves the pool at Ross Park. No, are we gonna have to watch your vacation slides all night?
This was supposed to be a party.
Well, this isn't my vacation. I live here.
Ooh.
And this will be your premium right here.
Sorry to interrupt. I just want to say, I combined home and auto with State Farm.
Saved $760.
Love this guy.
Okay, does it bother anybody else that the mime is talking? Freaky.
Bundle home and auto, and you could save $760.
That's 760 very good reasons to call Alan Gurdeau in Trussville today.
And folks, welcome back. And as you can tell, I've got another outstanding coach sitting beside me. Changing sports this time, going from track to basketball. And of course, we're talking with Cedric Lang. Tell us a little bit about your background for people that may be seeing you for the first time and what has led you to be the head basketball coach there at Pinson Valley.
Well, I've been coaching for quite a few years now. My first head coaching boys job was at Winona High School, and I was there for quite some time. We won 3 state championships there. I went to jail for a few years, and now I'm at Pinson Valley for my 2nd year.
Really?
Yes, sir.
Okay, going into, of course, and you've had a very successful season thus far. Going into this season so far, have you had the kind of season that you sort of anticipated from this group, or have they surprised you, or how you feel about what's happened thus far this year?
No, we haven't had the season that I expected to this point. The guys are working really hard. We've had a few things that caused us to not be as successful as we would have liked to have been by this point. But we're playing a tough schedule, and I think we're like 18-7, and we've played in, 4 different states now?
Yeah, I know. I want to expand on that a little bit because I know being the head coach, you are responsible, I think, for your schedule.
Yes, definitely.
And we touched on this a little bit, and I want you to expand on it. You do play a lot about state powerful teams. And
right.
Is that by design, or do you have trouble getting people to play against you, or you just feel like the better competition, win or lose, is going to make you and your team your players better?
A little bit of both. We like to play top competition, like to play a national schedule because the goals we have are based on competing nationally. And the way that you prepare your team for the big dance is to play competition. And you have to be battle tested. So we go out of state and we play some of the toughest opponents, and it helps our team to get better.
And I was going to say, because I was talking with some of your players before you got here, that the fact you are undefeated in region play, and a lot of that you can attribute to the fact, like you said, that your schedule, it may end up with some losses on it, but and I believe you will agree with me, there is such a thing as good losses if your team can grow from them.
Well,
but no coach wants to lose. That's not what I'm saying.
I don't know about the good loss, but I think you can learn from getting beat. Yeah.
Well, I understand.
It's a lot
you
to
may
learn
have
from
phrased
getting
it a little bit better, but I'm like you. I'm one of these that I believe if you play a team that is by reputation better than maybe your team is.
Yeah.
Well, if you play them close or you even beat them, but should you lose to them in a close ball game, there's nothing wrong with that. Sometimes you just have to tip your hat to the guy on the other side of the court. You got a better team.
Well, if you lose to an opponent that's flat out better than you, you have to respect that.
Absolutely.
And get past,
And that's where I use the term, no loss is a good loss, but you can learn lessons from. But as the old saying goes too, it's awful easy to be a winner. But sometimes those tough losses, you can grow and be better for them.
Yeah.
But and I guess you're like all.
And then when we go and play, we expect to win, and we realize just because you're not the best team on paper don't mean that you can't win the game. And,
absolutely.
And we won quite a few like that too. So, but another thing about going on the road, not only does it prepare your team for the long run, it helps your players get exposure. And if our players just play in Birmingham, only Birmingham people see them. So we try to go throughout the Southeast and let people see the talent that we have.
Well, let me ask you this question, and I asked young athletes such as yours this question all the time. I want to get your idea behind it. Is it less pressure on the road and more pressure at home because you're playing before the home crowd? You want to do well, you're expected to win. A lot of times you do, sometimes you don't. But I know I've had athletes tell me they feel like there's less pressure on the road because everybody thinks you ought to win at home.
Well, I look at it like on the road, it may be a little bit more pressure because what you're playing for on the road, you're playing to beat top teams. And if you don't beat these top teams, you're not going to be considered a top team. So I expect to win all the games at home, but go on the road and really have good showings and win those games too. So I think maybe a little more pressure at home because it's almost like you got to win the neighborhood games in order to be considered one of the better teams.
Right.
Yeah.
And the other thing I wondered about that too is every coach, if you could go undefeated, that'd be great. That's an ideal season for you. But I think, and I want you to expand on this a little bit as well, every coach, I believe, expects his team to peak hopefully around playoff time. And so if there are any deficiencies in your team, you hope during that season you work them out. And the main thing is if they're playing as well as they can going into the tournament, then you've got to like your chances of your team being very successful, right?
And in the history of my teams, I say the past 3 years, we've lost one game in January. So that's been our peaking time.
Well, and like you said, that being the case, and I think once again, most coaches feel this way. If our team is playing as well as they can possibly play, we can beat anybody on our schedule.
Right.
That's the way you've got to think.
You got to believe that. Yeah.
And if you can get that into the players' minds, all you're really trying to do is to get them to be the best they can be. But you've got to find that little spark, whatever it is, the it factor from a coach's standpoint. Is that part of the challenge of a coach, is bringing out the best in all the players?
It is. You got to be able to push your players to reach their full potential. But it's a thin line between that breaking point of pushing them too far and not quite enough. So I think the better coaches, they find that medium.
Yeah, because I think too there is the possibility that sometimes you can put too much pressure on a kid and a team, especially, and you know this as well as anybody, no two teams talent-wise are the same.
Right.
You're going to run into different problems. They may be injury problems. They may be attitude problems. All of this comes under that hat of the head coach.
Right.
You've got to solve these problems. But having said that, then it sounds like you have been pretty satisfied with the way your team has played thus far.
Yeah, I've been pleased. I've been pleased so far.
And it sounds like you've got some pretty good athletes on this
You
team.
got some great athletes on this team.
And the thing that you want them to do, if they're playing their best in the next week or two when the tournament starts, then I got a feeling from talking with it that you like you and your team's chances.
I love my chances. With the guys that I have, the group I have, and the camaraderie that they have, I love my chances for the next few years.
Well, Coach, the time flies by. One last question I want to ask you. Are you at a point in your life to where you feel that this is the job you want to be at a while, or have you ever had aspirations of coaching at the next level?
Yeah, I do. I definitely have aspirations of coaching at the next level. But this is the best job I've ever had, and I'm with a group of kids that I wouldn't trade for any other group.
Well, and the thing about that, and I'm glad you said that for the simple reason, in order to get to the next level, a lot of it depends on not only on you, but the type of teams that you have.
That's right.
Because the better they are, the
That's
better
right.
you are.
That's right.
Maybe,
they can make or break me.
Yeah, and maybe that dream will come true one
Yeah.
day. But right now, it sounds like you're at a good place.
Yeah.
Tickle to death with the team and
Yeah.
the season you've had thus far, but hopefully that the best is yet to come.
That's right, and I plan on being here for a few years and seeing where it takes me.
Well, Coach, good to see you. We're going to visit with some of your players and get their feedback on what kind of season you've had thus far, and hopefully the best is yet to come.
Okay.
Folks, we'll take a quick break. We come back, visit some of those athletes that's been very instrumental in the outstanding season Pinson Valley's had thus far. We'll be right back.
Take your taste to a different place. It's the taste of hamburger heaven. A taste of heaven is always best. Now you know that you're blessed. Give your taste a whole new spin. Bring your friends and come on in. Take your taste to a different place. It's the taste of hamburger heaven.
The community features a world-class resort and spa, the amazing Robert Trent Jones Trail Golf Course, miles of historic trails, and the whole family loves the pool at Ross Park. No, are we gonna have to watch your vacation slides all night?
This was supposed to be a party.
Well, this isn't my vacation. I live here.
Ooh.
The next time you need electrical work, whether it be commercial or residential, you need to call Huffman Electrical Contractors. A company that's been in business for over 35 years. They've served clients not only locally in the Birmingham area and all over the state, but have clients outside the state of Alabama as well. Whether it's a new building or remodeling an older building or home, they can handle the job for you. Once again, that's Huffman Electrical Contractors. The number to call is 205-661-5005. That's 205-661-5005. Where at Huffman Electrical Contractors, a satisfied customer is always their number one objective. And folks, welcome back. As you can tell, I got 4 outstanding young athletes here that are responsible for a great start and a great season thus far the Pinson Valley Indians have had. And as we get started, I want each one of them to introduce themselves to you. And we'll start here with Kobe, and I want to know your name, your grade, and your position.
Kobe Jones, I'm in 10th grade, and I play shooting guard.
JaQuincy McKinstry, I'm a point guard, and I'm in the 9th grade.
Kewasky Jackson, I play guard, and I'm in 10th grade.
Jordan Pollard, I play guard, I'm in 11th grade.
Well, I tell you what, guys, going into this season, I get this idea from talking to the head coach that he is not surprised by what y'all have done thus far. And so going into it, and we'll start with you, Kobe, going into this season, did you think you and your teammates had the type talent, the type team you could put together a season like you've had thus far?
Yes, I knew we did, and we worked hard in the off-season, conditioning, and the weight room.
Well, I know, JaQuincy, one of the most important aspects about a team is team chemistry. If you like each other, work well together, play well together, practice together, you're going to do pretty well. And team chemistry has a lot to do with that, because if you don't like each other, a lot of infighting among players, sometimes a season can go south quick. So talking about that, talk about the chemistry on your team and how it's helped you and your teammates be the best you can be.
Well, you know, we have the summer workouts, and we was playing with each other, building the chemistry to help us for the season.
Well, guys, like I said, you've had a good season thus far. Kowalski, I'll ask you this. You don't necessarily have to be a senior to be a leader. So having said that, are you the kind of guy, do you lead by example, or if you have to every once in a while, if you have to get on to a teammate about something, do you have a problem doing that?
No, sir, but it's like a team effort, so it's not just me, it's everybody correcting everybody.
Well, you're absolutely right about that. I mean, it's a team game, and so that has a lot to do with it, but the way you get along with one another also has a lot to do with it. Jordan, being an 11th grader, you're the oldest guy up here representing the team right now. Has the season been the way you sort of expected, or has it surprised you how well y'all have played?
It really didn't surprise me how well we're playing, because since we've been together, we've been working hard, and we've been dreaming of this moment. So we keep on working to get where we want to be.
Well, let me ask you this question too. First of all, is basketball the only sport you play?
Yes, sir. Well, no, I run track too.
Oh, you run track?
Yes,
so
sir.
one really helps the other ones as far as conditioning and so forth. Okay. Kowalski, how about you? You play any other sport?
Yes, sir. I run track too.
You run track?
Yes, sir.
Distance runner or sprint runner? Or does it matter?
I guess I'm looking like a distant runner this year.
Oh, okay. Okay. Kowalski, DeQuincy, how about you? You participate?
I played football this year, and looking like I'm going to be running track too.
Yeah. Did you play this past season?
Yes, sir.
What position did you play?
Played wide receiver and DB.
Defensive back?
Yes, sir.
You're not the one that hit my grandson and knocked him out of the game, are you?
Oh, no.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm glad to hear that. But I tell you, he told me, he said, y'all had one of the toughest teams he'd ever played against. But this is more important to me, and I was tickled to death when he told me. He said, Granddaddy, they were some of the best sports. He said, they didn't hit me hard and help me get up. And he said, a lot of people don't do that. But y'all had a great football team, and you're on the way to have an outstanding basketball team. Now, having said that, Kobe, Coach and I talked about it. I'll ask you, do you think you and your teammates have played the best basketball you could play this year yet?
No, sir. We're still waiting for the right time to peak, and when we get there, we'll be playing our best ball.
Well, and that, believe me, I hope that happens for you guys, because that's what the coach wants. Then the other team, especially come tournament time, see the best y'all have to offer. Well, I know that two things happen in order for you to be successful in high school sports. One is you got to qualify in the classroom. And then secondly, you don't make it to the football field. If you don't, then you've got to be pretty good at that. So I know you're busy all week long studying and going to class and playing. Now, here's the key. We got to have some downtime somewhere. We got to loosen up. We got to just let the pressures of the classroom and, in y'all's case, the basketball court, go away for a little while. With that thought in mind, Kobe, what do you do to sort of just relax and get away from the pressure of the classroom and the sports?
Well, sometimes I play the saxophone.
Really?
Yeah. You
good?
Yeah, I'm in the band, marching band.
Oh, are you?
Yeah.
Well, hey, that's terrific. You got to be pretty good, or they wouldn't let you do it. That would keep you busy or take your mind off of it. DeQuincy, how about you?
I just play the game with my friends online. That's about it.
Oh, okay. So you get active with your mind, but it's something you enjoy doing, and having to worry about looking up equations and answering questions and stuff like that, right? Mm-hmm. And Kowalski, about you?
Catching up on sleep.
What? You gonna catch up on your sleep?
Yes, sir.
Well, that's smart, because let me tell you, if you're dozing in class because you didn't catch up on your sleep, you're not getting all that brain power, are you?
No, sir.
Well, that's not a bad thing. Good for you. Jordan, how about you?
Eat cereal and play 2K.
Okay, we got to eat. You got to enjoy what we're eating too. Don't have mama fixing me something I don't like, but I got a feeling we're going to eat what she fixed, right? Okay. All right, guys. And Jordan, we'll start with you. When you saw your basketball schedule, are there teams that you look forward to playing more than others? If they are, who are they?
Yes, I look forward playing Fairfield and Midfield because some of the guys over there, I played with them this summer.
Yeah.
And it was like a big.
Yeah, that's sort of neat. And whenever we get in a situation like that, we want to be the one that outdoes the other one, don't we?
Exactly.
Okay. How about you, Kowalski?
Mountain Brook and Midfield.
Yeah. I tell you what, at Mountain Brook, when I watch them, I get tired just watching them play because they don't ever let up the whole time. They just up and down that floor. You don't get a break breath-wise much, do you? Plus, they're pretty good athletes as well. And Quincy, how about you?
I want to say Midfield, Fairfield, and Clay. I want to say Midfield and Fairfield because we played them in team cap in the summer. The games was kind of intense, so I knew when we played them in the season that there was going to be more intense.
Well, I mean, there's nothing wrong with competition, good competition. And like you say, a lot of times you play them at different times of the year. And so sometimes those are little rivalries outside of rivalries that we normally have in it. Okay, how about you, Cody?
I'll agree with them on Midfield and Fairfield and also the out-of-state games we played to see better competition and more versatile players.
Well, I know talking with the coach, he's talking about how outstanding you and some of your teammates are. The one thing that I was an athlete a long time ago, and loved basketball, and you always got either a college or a pro star that if you could, you'd say, gosh, that's the kind of game I want to have. With that thought in mind, Kobe, who's your favorite player or who would you most like to play like?
Jason Tatum for the Boston Celtics.
Really?
Yes,
okay. What is it about his game that is similar to yours?
He's real smooth with the ball, and he has a lot of ways of scoring.
Oh, okay. Yeah, well, versatile. Very versatile player. And JaQuincy, how about you?
Russell Westbrook, they play for the Oakland Thunder. Oklahoma Thunder.
Yeah. Boy, that guy can light him up, can't he? And he don't ever get tired, I don't think. Kowalski, how about you?
De'Aaron Fox.
Okay. What do you like about his game?
He's just a versatile guard that can play D and do everything, control the game.
So you're guard.
Yes, sir.
You're a better defender or shooter? Don't be bashful.
Shooter.
Shooter? Hey, I like that. I mean, let somebody else defend. I want to light them up, okay. How about you, Jordan?
Michael Jordan.
Really? Well, let me tell you this about Michael. If you got that much of Michael in you, you're going to be a star, okay? Because he's a cool dude. Well, guys, listen, you've had a great season thus far, and I know the coach is hoping that y'all peaking, getting close to peaking. You're going to play your best basketball. But I enjoyed visiting with you. But to this point in your young lives, the last question, who's been the most inspirational person or persons in your life? And we'll start with you, Kobe.
I got to say my parents and my coaches. My parents always supported me, even when I have bad days and good days, and my coaches were just preparing me, making me work hard.
Good for you. Okay, JaQuincy.
Well, I would like to concur on Kobe on what he said.
Okay. Kowalski?
Just my family general, everybody, they just lift me up all the time. So.
Good for you. Jordan?
My mom and my teammate, Liella.
Well, I tell you what, guys, you've had a good season thus far. In the next 2 or 3 weeks, it's going to be defined where you've had a great season or not, okay? I wish you all the luck in the world. I told the coach, and then I'll tell you all the same thing. If y'all want a second visit here, all you got to do is win the championship. We'll bring that trophy back, and we'll celebrate together, okay?
Yes,
once again, folks, we've had an outstanding evening, outstanding coaches, outstanding athletes. We look forward to doing it again next week. Till then, till I see you again, you know what the snapper always says. Bye.